Hey, I'm DBJ, and today is day 10. Which faction in your world is reviled? Which faction do people just despise? Well, in my world of Roanarch, I'm going to give you three, mainly because there's the concept of this uh, government uh, of 12 houses, and those 12 houses need to be combined together. So I'm going to give you three, maybe four if I'm feeling pretty good. All right, the first one is the House of Stone. The House of Stone is a primary house that deals with mining, the collection of ore, and the mining of mage stones from the earth after the Gods Down event. The House of Stone is also responsible for maintaining security for all of the large and major walled cities scattered all over Roanarch. Now, why are they reviled? Well, the House of Stone is very traditional, very stoic, very set in their ways, and they don't like the apple cart being disturbed. Because they're responsible for uh, security in the city states, security along their roads, and digging into the ground and going into the subterranean realms, you don't have time to be loosey-goosey with things. They are extremely regimented. You almost have this idea that the House of Stone has been imbued with this idea of the classic dwarf who takes their job extremely seriously, although all members of the House of Stone are not dwarves. They come from all walks of life. They just have absorbed that cultural doggedness that the classic dwarf has experienced for thousands of years. So the House of Stone is very difficult to deal with sometimes when it comes to change, and they take their security extremely seriously. And not many people appreciate the House of Stone preventing them from leaving the castle walls, or telling the other houses that, we will only mine so much because um, we do not want to ruin the subterranean environment, or to strip mine away the environment, because we only work so many hours of the day. It is time to break, even though the other houses, like the House of Fire, wants their weapons and those kind of things. The House of Stone, because they are miners, or a major facet of their job are miners, that they control the ore that is then processed into coin. So you want to get richer, you need the gold, you need the silver, you need the platinum, the gemstones, and the House of Stone is the one that actually acquires those. So while the House of Stone is rich, strangely enough, they are not hoarders, right? They don't hoard coin. They just mine the raw ore, and they distribute it amongst the other 11 houses uh, pretty evenly and fairly, if not a little stingily, because of their work processes. The second faction is the House of Winter. The House of Winter is a little bit bizarre because that house, the people there had to travel into the far reaches of the cold to escape the harsh realities of the Gods Down event and all of the people that were fighting on their side. And so to escape, they went into the farthest reaches of the Winterlands. So the House of Winter are mystics, they are scholars, and they are the defenders of society against the undead. But they perform unseemly acts. Acts in our life we wouldn't think much of, but in this world, in the medieval world, they're rather unseemly events and acts. And those unseemly acts are, they are skilled forensics, and they are skilled in embalming and they use dead bodies to study the anatomy. Uh, Something that is it's a little unseemly in this fantasy medieval world, to cut someone open and study their innards and learn about how the human body functions means that you need dead bodies to work on. And being in the winter realm, they're able to do this and keep those bodies in stasis. So while they are very experienced undead hunters, at the same time they have a weird, strange respect for the undead. um Talking to them, having the ability to return some of these undead people to life. Um, there's even rumors that they have, whole dungeons where they collect the undead to study them and figure out who they are, who they were in life, what they want in their undeath, and ultimately how to kill them. But when you talk to these people, these scholars, these weird, half alive, half dead necromantic spellcasters, they really throw people off. They are more not so much evil, but reviled for what it is that they have to do. And there are even some who have gone so far as to um, travel into the negative realms and become undead themselves to learn more about what it means to be stuck between life and death. The last faction really isn't evil at all, and that's the 13th house, the unnamed, the unvoted, the dregs of society, those people who do not fit into society. And it's really a shame because the 13th house are considered those people who don't fit into the house that um, they were born into, unable to transition to another house, either because that other house doesn't trust them, excuse me, and lastly, because they are viewed as not having something to offer society. The 13th house is made up of people who have social problems, many of the handicapped, people born with afflictions, and a ton of criminals and political dissidents. Yet within the 13th house, while they are considered less than, while they are looked down upon, they have some of the greatest minds, some of the most active people in this world. Uh, Many player characters would want to come from the 13th house. Some people thrown into the 13th house are people who have do not meet, you know, the sexual preferences of other houses. Some people in the 13th house are those who have suffered great psychological harm, from PTSD, from many battles, and could not find solace in the people that they deal with, and so have found the 13th house to find themselves, uh, to return their souls back to them, and to at least be appreciated for the work that they've done. In a sense, the 13th house is a place where the unwanted are shuffled off to. And even the handicap, who are looked at as not offering very much to society, are the backbone of the 13th house, not understanding that many of them possess some of the greatest minds, greatest skills, and even some of the greatest physical acts. And even with evidence that shows that they have these great skills, unfortunately, just like in real life, sometimes even showing someone evidence, it just doesn't convince them. So the 13th house is considered to be made up of criminals and evil and the unwanted. They're reviled for what they do. Normally, the jobs that they take are all the unwanted jobs: cleaning stables and you know removing trash and cleaning up feces and urine, removing dead bodies, um, dealing with the unwanted in society, removing dead carcasses, um, cleaning up spills of acid, and going into the underneath cities that have sewer systems, and getting rid of the oozes and otiogs down there eating the leftovers of humanity. Yeah, they're the ones that no one likes, but in essence, they are like the greatest heroes in my world. So I wanted there to be, um, in a metagame sense, I wanted there to be a place for all us role players that feel like we never ever fit in, to find a place, to find a home, to find that one place that, you know what, I'm not like you. I never fit into your rules, but this place, this 13th house is my home, and I'm glad that you accept me. We accept you for who you are. So those are my three factions. Comment below about the factions that are in your world that are evil and reviled, or maybe even misunderstood, which is kind of where I was coming from. And of course, check out the links below for the Kickstarter to A Dead Man's Guide to Dragon Grin from Absolute Tabletop. If you've watched all these videos, you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. I'm DBJ. I am the, excuse me, a contributing writer to Critical Hit Publishing. My little baby is the Cinematic Environs. Ooh, let me reach down. This little bad boy is the latest one. Sorry about the reflection there. The Blasted Lands. Each book represents one part of natural and somewhat not so natural environments, whether it's the Arctic or mountains, the desert. We even have aerial reaches, a book on survival itself, with a lot of actual extrapolated real world survival techniques. We even have a book on how to use the aquatic realms, from tropical to the frozen icebergs in your world. So anyway, I'm DBJ. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.